And Japanese snack giant Calbee says it will temporarily switch to black and white packaging for some of its best-known products, as supplies of an ingredient used in ink have been disrupted by the Iran war. The firm says new style packets for 14 of its products, including crisps and prawn crackers, will start to appear in shops in Japan from the 25th of May.
That. On a rainy, cold morning, Masuda makes her way to a hillside cemetery in northwest Kabul to visit the grave of her younger brother Mirwais. But she doesn't know exactly where he was buried after he was killed in a Pakistani airstrike 2 months ago. That. Netflix has been sued in Texas over claims it collects data belonging to children and adults in the U.S. state without their consent and uses addictive design to keep them hooked. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton accused the streaming giant of spying on citizens, saying it records and monetizes billions of pieces of information about how users behave on the platform, despite suggesting otherwise.
And Israel's military has killed 6 people in an air raid on a house in southern Lebanon, the latest violation of a United States brokered truce that has only ever existed on paper. The Israeli attack on Monday night targeted a house in the Kfar Dunin municipality, some 100 kilometers, 60 miles, south of Beirut, Lebanon's national news agency, NNA, said.
That. Fake online advertisements and social media groups are luring people in Jordan with promises of quick profits from cheap gold, with sellers disappearing once funds have been transferred or customers defrauded with counterfeit and substandard metals. Mohammed Nassar said he was quoted a price for gold lower than local market rates due to an online store, claiming it was exempt from manufacturing fees, government licensing costs or shop rents. That. Palestinian couples gathered for a collective wedding ceremony in Gaza, organized by a Turkish charity amid rubble and displacement. Brides and grooms described trying to reclaim moments of joy after months of Israeli attacks, destruction and life intense. That. Amazon deliveries keep getting faster. On Tuesday, the online retailer announced the launch of its 30-minute delivery option, dubbed Amazon Now, in dozens of U.S. cities. This ultra-fast delivery option will allow customers to shop across thousands of items, Amazon says, including fresh groceries, household essentials, and other locally relevant items.
And FIFA has released another official song for the 2026 World Cup, this time featuring Palestinian-Chilean singer Eliana alongside Canadian artist Jessie Reyes. Titled Ilune, the track arrives as part of FIFA's growing musical rollout for the tournament and has been received far more warmly online than some of the earlier releases. And the federal government might just have discovered yet another excuse to again increase petrol and diesel prices this week, following last week's abrupt hike shortly after the executive board of the International Monetary Fund decided to deposit $1 and $3 billion in the State Bank of Pakistan. And crude oil prices have moved closer to the $110 per barrel mark in international markets after US President Donald Trump's recent rejection of Iran's proposal to end the Gulf War sent global oil stocks towards the sky. And authorities have issued revised official prices for roti, naan, paratha and tea across Rawalpindi, Islamabad and other districts of Rawalpindi division, following the notification tandoors in the Twin Cities have started selling bread items at the updated rates. And Microsoft is working on a Windows 11 update that aims to reduce startup times for some tasks, Windows Central reported. The update includes a new high-performance mode that Windows Central sources call Low Latency Profile. The report said the mode has delivered up to 40% faster app load times and up to 70% faster interface launch times. And the Pakistan Tennis Federation has announced that the visit of former world number 1 and tennis legend Bjorn Borg has been postponed due to urgent personal circumstances requiring his immediate presence elsewhere. According to the PTF, Borg has conveyed that he is unable to travel at this time. The federation said it fully understands and respects his situation. And World Health Organization, WHO, Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said, On Tuesday, our work is not over to contain hantavirus after evacuations from a cruise ship hit by a deadly outbreak of the illness. The fate of the MV Hondius sparked international alarm after 3 passengers died in an outbreak of the rare virus, for which no vaccines or specific treatments exist.
This can be a very long review or a very short one. 2 things, though, are certain. No film review would be complete without inserting the titles of Jackson's hit songs into the sentences. That, and no film, this or otherwise, can ever truly give you a realistic depiction of who Michael Jackson really was, but that's okay. This adaptation of Michael's life, directed by Antoine Fuqua, Training Day, The Equalizer, written by John Logan, Gladiator, The Aviator, and produced by Graham King, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Departed, is a perfect recap cum balancing act.
And United States President Donald Trump's visit to China this week will mark his 7th face-to-face meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping. The visit will also be the first trip by a US leader to China since 2017. And Karachi, Pakistan, Farhat Qureshi had been cooking most of her life without watching the clock. Now, at 60, her mornings begin with one question: how much can she finish before the gas in her kitchen disappears once again? The cooking gas at her Karachi home comes in short windows in the morning, afternoon, and evening. If she misses a window, the cooking is delayed, food is reheated, plans are changed, and the kitchen waits.
French President Emmanuel Macron has announced €23 billion, 27 billion of investment during the Africa Forward Summit in Kenya. Macron said on Monday that Africa and France had a partnership of equals with common objectives, as he announced €14 billion, 16.4 of investments in private and public funds from French companies and €9 billion, 10.5 billion from African ones on energy transition, agriculture and artificial intelligence, AI.
And Russia and Ukraine have resumed air attacks after a United States brokered 3-day truce expired, with President Volodymyr Zelensky saying more than 200 drones were used to attack Ukraine overnight. Russian aerial attacks across Ukraine's Dnipropetrovsk region on Tuesday morning killed at least 1 person and injured 4 others, according to Regional Administration Chief Oleksandr Ganja.
The first smartphones with 10,000 milliamp hour batteries are already available from brands such as Honor, Vivo and Realme. Huawei may soon join that group, according to Leakster Digital Chat Station. The Leakster claims Huawei has developed a 10,000 milliamp hour battery. The exact capacity remains unclear, but the wording suggests that the battery could be larger than 10,000 milliamp hour. This would make it one of the biggest battery mainstream phones on the market.
And after Punjab and Sindh, the School Education Department of Balochistan has also announced summer vacations for all public and private educational institutions located in the province's summer zones. According to the official notification, the summer holidays will begin on May 23, 2026, and continue until July 31, 2026. All educational institutions falling within the summer zone will remain closed during this period. And BYD has imported demo units of 3 new plug-in hybrid vehicles to Pakistan as the company prepares to expand its local lineup. According to sources familiar with the development, the imported vehicles are currently in Pakistan for evaluation and demonstration purposes. However, the models could later be introduced in locally assembled form. And Pakistan all-rounder Salman Ali Agha said the visitors would definitely push for victory in the first test against Bangladesh, which is scheduled to conclude on Tuesday at the Sher-e-Bangla National Cricket Stadium. At stumps on the 4th day, Bangladesh were 152-3 in their second innings and held a 179-run lead over Pakistan. Captain Najmul Hossain Shanto remained unbeaten on 58, while experienced batter Mushfiqur Rahim was not out on 16. Islamabad. The Supreme Court on Tuesday asked the Islamabad High Court IHC to decide within 2 weeks the pleas of human rights lawyer Ayman Zainab Mazari Hazir and her husband Hadi Ali Chatha, and seeking the suspension of their sentence in the controversial social media posts case. Until the IHC decides upon the petitions, the matter will remain pending before the Apex Court, a three-judge SC consisting of Justice Shahid Wahid and Justice Naim Akhtar Afghan and Justice Shafi Siddiqui ordered.
That, a few hundred miles from where Chinese leader Xi Jinping will roll out the red carpet for President Donald Trump this week, a shadowy ecosystem has long been at work, pumping billions of dollars into Iran's economy, now helping keep Tehran afloat in defiance of the US. These are the ports, pipelines and oil refineries of Shandong province and its borderlands, where the hulking architecture of oil storage tanks and spindly profiles of smokestacks jut up from barren coastal flatlands.
And if you're shopping for your favorite Calbee chips in Japan and see that familiar bag in black and white, it's not a printing mistake. The Japanese snack maker said on Tuesday it will temporarily change the packaging to grayscale and ditch its typically bright and eye-catching colors in stores nationwide because of supply chain disruptions from the Iran war.
That London United Kingdom trust once lost is hard to claw back. For Palantir Technologies, a leading defense and intelligence software firm in the United States, that the trust that the company established in the United Kingdom on a £1 dog won. That 37 National Health Service NHS contract during the COVID-19 pandemic in March 2020, which translated into a 6-year relationship worth nearly £400 million, 546 metres, has recently eroded. This has been accelerated in part by Palantir's own conduct.
And we are building the land of Israel and destroying the idea of a Palestinian state, said Israeli Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich on Friday, the action that brought on his comments Israel's uprooting of 300 Palestinian planted trees in the occupied West Bank, and the destruction of the trees so that illegal Israeli settlements can expand was one of a number of Israeli actions this week that emphasized Israel's continued push to expand its dominance over the West Bank. And it comes as Israel maintains its violent posture in Gaza, killing at least 13 Palestinians there, with a particular focus on police officers.
That Mexico has cancelled plans to shorten its school year before the World Cup after widespread backlash from parents, think tanks and local authorities, the government said. That, following an outpouring of criticism at an announcement by Education Secretary Mario Delgado that the school year would end about 40 days early, that education and other government officials met on Monday to gather input from parents and consider options at a meeting announced by President Claudia Sheinbaum, who expressed skepticism of the proposed shortening. That British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is set to face his cabinet as more than 80 Labour MPs have called for him to resign following the party's devastating local elections losses last week. The cabinet is said to be divided on whether he should remain on and will meet on Tuesday. Starmer's chief secretary, MP Darren Jones, told Sky News the Prime Minister was talking to colleagues but was very clear yesterday that he will not be walking away.
And PUBG Mobile faced controversy after players criticized an in-game item called Hand of the Almighty, claiming it contained religiously insensitive wording or references. The company later posted a public apology on X on May 12, 2026, confirming that the item's name had been updated and later removed following community backlash.